Hey guys, so it's Sunday, almost midday. I'm out exploring another section of the Sturgeon River ski trail here. This side is, I don't know, a little different. I figured I didn't have a lot of real high hopes today for any great photo opportunities. Mainly because, as you can see around me, the sun has come out a little bit, but it's still pretty, I don't know, flat, kind of uninspired lighting. But this section of trail I wanted to check out, so I'm just treating today as kind of an little exploration, scouting for another day. But so far the trail's been kind of a bust because this whole area, the first, I don't know, I suppose about quarter mile to mile, not quite a mile, half mile maybe. They logged it off a few years back, it looks like, and it's nothing but flat, knocked down trees, a few random things. Nothing really good scenically, at least right now with these lighting conditions that I want to capture. So we're gonna go just exploring, treat today as pretty much just a scouting mission and see what we can find. On the plus side, super warm out. Got to be in the 40s, it's beautiful. So let's see what we can find. All right, so I found a spot in the midst of all of the clear cutting and everything else that's been going on. I found a spot here with a nice deer trail that was packed enough. It was a little bit of hard walking, but some of the areas where the deer have been packed down enough where I can walk. And so I came in here because I saw some fallen trees, and this time of year one of my favorite things to do is also look for deer sheds. So the antlers, when they fall off, you know, it's always cool if you can find those in the woods. Up here in our area, there's such thick woods and so many areas for them to go that you know, it can be really tough to find those. So it's kind of a treasure hunt. But on these big trails like this that they've been using apparently all winter long, a lot of times you have a pretty good chance at finding those. So I figured I'd scoot down this trail just a little bit and take a peek, and I came across this little area. There's a few compositions I want to look at in here, kind of salvaging what we're working with today with this soft light, slightly overcast. But this tree coming across here, you've got the trail, it's kind of a chaotic scene, right? I mean, a lot of trees, a lot of brush, a lot of stuff everywhere, and so it's kind of tough sometimes to pick out a good, getting soaked, a good composition when we look at that. But over here, when we look, you'll see how the light is coming down, filtering through these trees here, and it's going to hit this log right where the deer have been jumping and skipping over. Now I'm set up with my XT1 on my tripod, the Vanguard Alta Pro 263 whatever AT 263 AT tripod, and I set up with my 56mm 1.2. Now when looking at this scene, my initial thought was to try and go real shallow depth of field, right? And reason being is that I wanted to try and isolate this chaos a little bit and look at that frame, but I might stop it down a little bit, so I'm just gonna have to frame it up and see what we get. But I'm hoping it's kind of one of these intimate landscape type of shots where kind of show a little bit of beauty, some cool light, nice and soft as it goes over this gnarly fallen down tree, and see if we can create just kind of a small little still life here. So I'm gonna get shooting on that, and hopefully we'll get something good. I've got another uprooted tree just off camera over here where the roots are all exposed, and I'm gonna see how bad the snow is to get there and try and shoot back into those roots as kind of an abstract you know, pattern type of photo, because sometimes the underside of these trees when they get uprooted like that can be really beautiful. I know a lot of people will take them, cut the tree off at the back, and they'll basically strip all the bark away and then lacquer and seal all of the exposed roots that are up there in almost a art form that they'll use in their lawns or against their homes and things like that, as these big kind of spidery art forms. So I'm gonna see if I can get something cool there. Have no idea what the backside of that looks like, but at least we're finding a couple shots. And on days like this, when you're in the thick forest, especially when you're all around you has been logged off and there's not much, it's always kind of nice when you find those little details, those little things where you can kind of salvage a photo. So let's get shooting and see what we've got. All right, so I found a composition here. I like the way the roots are. The light's hitting it a little bit, as you can probably see. Problem is, all of this. We've got a lot of brush, but I am gonna use the little trick of shooting wide open because I want to put all the emphasis on the upturned roots of the tree and leave all of the stuff, the brush, everything else, out of focus in the foreground, and allow that to just kind of become a little bit more of an element within the scene. So I had to get back because I wanted to keep that nice compressed look, but sometimes when you're shooting through stuff like this, and it's a challenge we run into a lot here up in the Northland, where how do I explain it? The stuff that ends up going in front, the brush and different things like that, can add a little bit of textured color and a little bit of depth to your photo at times. And so don't be afraid of doing that. And that's not to say that you should always shoot wide open or you should always shoot completely stopped down. It just really depends on what you're trying to get out of the photograph. But in this case, I want those patterns. I want all of that to be showing, and so that's what we're going to go for. So let me line up. I've got everything squared away. Just need to actually make the frame, and I think I've got a good keeper here that'll be kind of an abstract, but the light hitting it has got kind of a nice warm glow to it, even though it's midday, but it's hazy enough and overcast enough where we're getting a little bit of that nice warmth to the light bouncing off the snow and around here, filling in some of the shadows. So let me grab this and we'll keep moving. Perfect, I think it's a keeper. So one more quick grab shot I'm gonna get that I don't know if I can make it happen, but I just like the way it looks, and that is right down where I just showed you, kind of, oops, bumping into trees. Down here we've got this big rock. It's not huge, but a nice rock, moss covered, where part of the snow is melted and it's exposed those nice green mosses on there. And the sun is coming, kind of backlighting it, skimming over the top. And so I'm gonna see if I've got enough room here, because my bag is about 300 feet over there through deep snow. And I'm gonna see, since my tripod and everything's here with that 56, if I can grab something there to frame it up. I just don't know if I've got enough room, but it's really kind of a neat little small detail type of scene. So take a peek, that's all we can do, right? That's why we're here, we're exploring, having fun. Well, that was a pleasant surprise, right? Sometimes that's all it takes, even though I went into today with extremely low expectations for what I was gonna find because of the weather, even though it's beautiful out here, gorgeous. You know, temps are great, everything else, but lighting conditions weren't the best, although they're opening up. We could be in store. Things keep up how they are for a pretty nice sunset, but we'll see what happens there. But you know, but I also, for me, I enjoy the challenge of being able to kind of come for a hike like this, exploring, and just see what I can find. Now, a little bit ago, I lined up that shot of those old roots of a tree that had been uprooted and fallen over. Now I'm standing here next to another one. This one is massive. The problem is it's kind of a cool shot, but I'm not going to take this one. I might take a couple little detail type of shots through there, just because there's some kind of neat things happening as far as patterns in the sand, rocks, little leaves, things like that. So I might take a look at it, but maybe not. But this one hasn't been uprooted for long enough to get rid of the dirt, because what's happening is this tree is up, there's the root system there, but all the dirt that came up with it, see if I can show you this, there's a big sinkhole down here. And so when the tree came up, it was right up to the edge of this trail, and it tipped, fell that way, and a lot of that dirt came up with it. So this one is another one of those examples where it could be a cool shot in another 3-4 years, 5 years, when a lot of the dirt and sand and sediment and the grass that's on the other side of it that came up with it kind of falls off and deteriorates and exposes just that bare root system. So something to kind of file in the memory bank if I'm ever out looking for something to check up on this place in a year or two. But you know, it's always kind of an adventure to just see what you can find. So I'm gonna keep going up the trail. Looks like we passed through this little stretch of woods that was still here, and they've logged off a lot of it back here, and so we're about to go in there. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the river is gonna come through, Sturgeon River. They come through somewhere up here, so maybe I can get a view of that, although more than likely it's frozen over, so there'll be nothing much to see. But we'll take a peek and keep exploring. It's certainly just a beautiful, warm, sunny afternoon, so we'll go see what we can find, and when I find something interesting, I'll be back.